The crew's enforcement of the penalty erroneously set the down to third. The correct down should have been second. The replay booth was consulted to confirm the down prior to the punt. The replay booth had the down as fourth down as well. So we've got basically two layers. This is me just outside of the statement. Two layers of mistakes being made. Let's jump back into the statement. The error was discovered during the media timeout that followed the punt, and by rule, it could not be corrected at that time.
I'm still stuck on erroneous because there were also a couple of mistakes made on a single play between Memphis and Mississippi State on this 94-yard punt return. The ball is just laying here, right about now, right? Just laying there. And there's actually an official who signaled for the clock to stop. No one saw it. So we got it picked up and it's scooped up and it's returned for a touchdown. Oh, but wait, there's more, because if you're looking, there are actually two number 4s on the field for Memphis during that play. That should have been a 5-yard penalty. It wasn't. Memphis beat Mississippi State 31-29. So yes, it did matter. And the SEC said this: the inadvertent signal aspect of the play is reviewable, and the replay should have stopped the game to review for a potential inadvertent signal. The subsequent review would have placed the ball at the spot where this signal was made. Translation: the return for the touchdown should have never happened.
Heisman Update is brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
3 weeks down in the college football season, here's how Heisman candidates did in Week 3. Matt Corral continuing to dazzle. Threw for 3 touchdowns Saturday, rushed for 4. That tied the Ole Miss record for most passing and rushing touchdowns in a single game. Then there's Spencer Rattler. He only passed for 1 touchdown against Nebraska. Much closer game, but it was enough to extend his streak of games throwing for a touchdown to 14. That is the longest active streak in the Big 12. And then there's Bryce Young throwing for 3 touchdowns Saturday to become the second player in Bama history with at least 10 passing touchdowns through 3 career starts. Mac Jones is the other. We welcome in Paul Finebaum of the SEC Network here on SportsCenter AM. And Paul, Alabama just hangs on to beat Florida in the Swamp after jumping out to that big lead. After that game at the Swamp, do you find yourself more impressed or concerned with how the Tide played?
Randy, I'm concerned, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because we have been told prior to the season this may be the most elite defense of Nick Saban's tenure. And that defense in the final 2.5 quarters yesterday was anything but elite. I mean, they got gashed constantly. The Florida offensive line just went right through the defensive line of Alabama, and nobody thought that was even possible. Alabama could barely stop anything. So you have to be concerned about that. Yes, you're impressed by Bryce Young. You're impressed the fact that Alabama could hang on in a very difficult place. There are very few places in college football more difficult to win. Florida's better than we thought, but Alabama, we better maybe ask for that trophy back that we awarded to them 2 weeks ago.
To your point about Nick Saban, that was just the second 99-yard drive allowed by an opposing offense against a Nick Saban defense since he took over at Alabama. So Alabama looked a little bit gettable, but they're not the only ones, right? Highly ranked teams have looked beatable. Matter of fact, Clemson and Ohio State have already lost. Notre Dame needed a close win over Toledo 2 weeks ago to stay unbeaten. They got a test from Purdue. Who's been the most disappointing team to you so far, Paul?
Well, it's almost a tie between Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Clemson, but I'm going with Clemson for this reason, Randy. Their defense is fantastic. It's not giving up anything, but the offense, let me correct myself. What offense? They have no offense. We were told DJU was going to be just fill right in where Trevor left off. Well, he hasn't been able to do that because there are so many problems on the offensive front. I mean, they weren't playing Georgia yesterday. They were playing Georgia Tech, which lost to Northern Illinois a couple weeks ago. That was simply an inexcusable performance all around.
It's a Georgia Tech team they beat by 66 a year ago. All right, we have to ask you about this here, Paul, because we care about you, okay? This was yesterday on SEC Nation. The show's live from Gainesville, so who doesn't have a baby alligator handy? They bring it out to the set, and you go rogue, you go decidedly off script, and you get face-to-face with that thing. So the question, and there are several, Paul, but the first one is, what were you thinking?
Well, there's no way I could claim I was thinking anything because nobody in their right mind would do what I did. Now, maybe deep down in the crevices of my mind, I've always wanted a nose job, and I thought I'd get ESPN to pay for it if that gator took mine off. And there was a pretty good chance it did. I mean, I did not realize I got that close, and not only that, I intimidated the gator by tapping on the table. The producers were none too pleased. My wife was none too pleased, and I am fortunate to have gotten out of the swamp alive.
What'd your wife say?
She's still not talking to me.
She said nothing because she's not speaking to me. All right,
I'll
Paul,
give you her number.
I'll tell you what that gator was thinking. This man looks delicious. It's Paul Finebaum with the insight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's get back to baseball first. Well, you can insert like the gym tan laundry jokes wherever you want. Thursday night football was so very New Jersey. Finesse was optional, but the Cowboys and the Eagles have yet to play. So there's still hope for the rest of us from the other states. Let's huddle up.
The X factor in this football game is obviously Trey Lance, the rookie quarterback. He played in limited action last week, but he had a big impact on the game. And remember, the Niners are missing their starting running back, Raheem Mostert, due to a knee injury. So the Eagles are preparing for more of Lance. Why? He's a running threat. He will open up the lanes for Kyle Shanahan's multiple run offense. He'll also open up the passing lanes for the Niners playmakers. That would be tight end George Kittle, as well as the electrifying Deebo Samuel. The Eagles really don't have a lot of speed in the secondary. They're going to have to scheme up coverage for those Niners threats. Remember, last week the Falcons really didn't test the Eagles' D. The Niners definitely will.
Dak Prescott's the first quarterback in NFL history with 55 or more pass attempts in at least 3 games of a 4-game span. Pass protection will be challenging for the Cowboys against the Chargers. With Lael Collins beginning a 5-week suspension, the Cowboys will be starting undrafted free agent Terrence Steele at right tackle, opposite Chargers game-wrecking pass rusher Joey Bosa. So expect Ezekiel Elliott to do more running than blocking. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert should have no such concerns even without Brian Bulaga. His revamped offensive line consistently provided clean pockets in Week 1. In this matchup, the Cowboys have to create a pass rush without their starting defensive ends, DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory, the 2 players with the most career sacks on the Dallas roster.
We do have some news this morning regarding Lael Collins. He is appealing that suspension. He missed multiple drug tests, but according to our Adam Schefter, he had valid reasons. One came the day that Marcus Paul died, and